Hi, my name is Brendan Pedicic. I'm a junior marketing major from Long Island, New York, and I'm a lacrosse player here at PBA.
Hi, my name is Liam Martin. I'm also a junior. I'm a business management major from Queens, New York, and I play on the PBA baseball team.
Today, I'll be discussing the parties involved in the case, the background of the Braunfeld versus Brown case, along with the legal issue of free exercise clause. And at the end, we will discuss our opinions and other thoughts we have on the case.
I will be talking about the context of the case, the ultimate decision of the case, and then at the end, I will be talking about the opinions of the case.
We will also define what a Pennsylvania blue law is. So I'm going to start off with two parties of the case being Abraham Braunfeld, who was the appellant, who's the owner of the clothing store that was forced to be closed. And then we have Albert N. Brown, who is the appellee, who is the commissioner of the police of the city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, who's here to represent the state. So Abraham Braunfeld owned a retail clothing and home furnishing store in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Abraham Braunfeld, being an Orthodox Jewish man, he was prohibited by his faith from working on Saturday due to Saturday being their Sabbath day. According to Pennsylvania blue law, only certain approved businesses were allowed to be open on a Sunday. For example, like medicine stores and food stores, stuff along those lines. Mr. Braunfeld challenged the Pennsylvania blue law as he thought it was unfair and challenged blue law as a violation of the religious liberty clauses, claiming he needed to be open 6 days a week for financial reasons, along with supporting himself and supporting a family that he has.
What are Pennsylvania blue laws / closing laws? The blue law is a law term for state statute or ordinance that forbids or regulates entertainment and commercial activities. For example, the sale of liquor on Sundays or religious holidays. Blue laws can also be referred to as Sunday closing laws, Sabbath laws, and uniform days of rest laws. And as Brendan said, the blue law is an essential business only. So medicine and food industries were the businesses that were allowed to be open, but most other businesses were not. So what's the context of the case? The major issue at hand is the conflict between religious beliefs and state labor laws. Mr. Braunfeld was an Orthodox Jewish man, meaning that his Sabbath was on a Saturday, so he could not work or do anything on a Saturday, meaning his business needed to be closed. But according to the Sunday closing laws, his business was required to be closed on a Sunday as well, which drastically affected his financial gains and helping his family. Mr. Braunfeld's argument was that the Sunday closing laws violated his First Amendment rights to free exercise of religion. He believed it was unfair to him and other people who practiced the Sabbath on a different day. He also argued he was not earning enough financially after working for only 5 days, as opposed to the other businesses that were able to work 6 days because of the closing law. The decision first went to the lower courts, and the lower courts ruled against Mr. Braunfeld, upholding that the Sunday closing laws were secular, meaning that they had no religious effect, and they were meant for all citizens. Mr. Braunfeld did not like this response, so he appealed to the United States Supreme Court.
So the legal issue in this case that I'll be discussing is the free exercise clause. The Braunfeld versus Brown case ties into the free exercise clause as it is not protecting Abraham Braunfeld's right to exercise his religion freely due to the disturbance of the Pennsylvania blue law. If the free exercise clause was to be practiced correctly in this case, Braunfeld will be able to be open Sunday, given the permission, and on Sunday, even though it is not his religion that uses Sunday as their Sabbath day, as Orthodox Jewish use their Sabbath day on Saturday.
So, like the lower courts, Mr. Braunfeld had the same kind of result in the Supreme Court. The court decided 5-4 in favor of Brown, the police chief, and the city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The courts once again claimed, like the lower courts, that the Sunday law has a secular basis and did not make any religious practices unlawful, meaning that because the Sunday law the closing law was on a Sunday, it did not affect Mr. Braunfeld at all from practicing his Saturday Sabbath religion. The court also deemed that the closing laws were secular, provided a day of rest for all citizens, regardless of any religious belief. So even those who did not believe in any religions and did not have a Sabbath day, the government believed that this day was deemed for them to rest. The court stressed that the Pennsylvania Blue Law did not target or scrutinize the Jewish population, as it did not target or scrutinize any population because the laws were secular, meaning that they were meant for all citizens. In 1978, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court finally declared that most of their blue laws were unenforceable. The only blue laws that are around nowadays are hunting laws. So it's sad to see that Mr. Braunfeld's case, if it was only 17 years in the future, probably would have been won by him and he would have been able to have his business open on a Sunday.
So here's a similar case to Braunfeld vs. Brown, but ultimately different outcome. So Donald Thornton was a supervisor of a Caldor department store in Connecticut. Donald was also a devout Presbyterian. The store's policy was that supervisors were to work one of every 4 Sundays due to them only having a few supervisors. With Sunday being his day of devotion and Sabbath, and not being able to work, they decided to lower his pay by $3 an hour, per hour rather. He believed this to be unconstitutional and unfair. He filed a grievance against Caldor, the company. The court ended up ruling in his favor, unlike the Braunfeld vs. Brown case, where the court decision was won by the appellant in the state. Like Braunfeld, Donald had himself maybe a family to support, and it's just interesting how different the court reacted to this.
Exactly. That's kind of the exact reason why we put this extra case into our presentation, is because it shows how drastically different the 20 years changed the effect of the courts, because it was a very similar case about two men that were trying to practice their Sabbath, or in Donald's case, did not want to work on his Sabbath. And in Donald's case, he won and was not able to go, but Mr. Braunfeld unfortunately did not win his case and was forced to be open on a Saturday.
So our opinions on the verdict, we both do not agree. We believe that the Pennsylvania Blue Law and Sunday closing law is just unfair and unconstitutional. It directly contradicts the First Amendment of fundamental freedom and religious freedom, because it favors religions practicing their Sabbath day on Sunday over religions needing other days. And back to a previous slide, when we wrote down that the Pennsylvania Blue Law wasn't to scrutinize the Jewish people, I feel that it really was, because there are only very few religions that have Saturday being their Sabbath day, Judaism being one of them. And I just feel like it's upright unfair.
Yeah, so we disagree with the court's decision, as we both completely think that it contradicts the statute of quote unquote religious freedom. Because if you were religiously free, then you should be able to practice your Sabbath on your Sabbath day. But Mr. Braunfeld was told that he is not allowed to, and he has to kind of subject to other religious laws or the state laws over his own religion. If they truly stood by their word of religious freedom, then Braunfeld would have been allowed to open on a Sunday, so that he could practice his religion on a Saturday. We can look at the modern implications now when you look at Chick-fil-A, an establishment that we all love wholeheartedly. We have one in the middle of our campus. They close on Sunday to observe the Lord's Day. Their leader, their founder, Truett Cathy, states that that's the reason why they're closed on a Sunday. But nobody ever bats an eye, as opposed to 40 years ago when Mr. Braunfeld had to go to the Supreme Court to try to get his business open just so he could support his family.
And both of us being from New York, we're familiar with the many small businesses that you find on Long Island and throughout New York City, which is where Liam is from. And just seeing that different businesses are closed on different days respective to their Sabbath day, no one questions it. Everyone respects each other's religion. Like I said before, we never question it. We understand, because we all celebrate our Sabbath day differently, and we just respect it at the end of the day.
True, and piggybacking off that, there's a huge Hasidic Jewish population in New York City, where I'm from, and every Saturday since I was a little kid, you would know it's a Sabbath day because there was millions of people walking and not using cars, and many restaurants that were closed, and many business establishments that were closed in Brooklyn and all these boroughs that have predominantly Jewish populations. So it's just hard to look back and think about Mr. Braunfeld during that time, where he was forced to work on his day of rest. So that's why I think that, or we both agree that the court ruled wrong, because it's definitely going against his First Amendment of religious freedom. Well, hope you enjoy.
Thank you.